This podcast features adults using adult language, so listener discretion is advised. The Legend of Zelda is property of Nintendo, while Dungeons & Dragons is property of Wizards of the Coast. We are sponsored by neither, and this is a homebrew game played for fun by folks who are fans of both. But now, without further ado, let us continue tales of danger, determination and adventure in Hyrule Chronicles. Hello everyone, welcome back to Hyrule Chronicles, the show in which we have a bunch of people going across Hyrule and adventuring and killing things. I am ArticulateT, I am the GM, and with me I have, playing Sho Daius, SteveTheSeregios. Playing Hikan.
Hello everyone.
Playing Hikan CO, Alvarance.
Hello.
Playing Renji, son of Nihilus, we have TheNetherlad.
Greetings and well met.
Playing Ziden Shari, we have Robo-Pirate / Cafferask.
I'm going with just Robo-Pirate now to make it easier.
Okay. And playing as Max, we have Keastreth.
Hi.
Hey. So, who would like to do the recap for the last time?
Challenger's arrived.
A new challenger appears. Last time on Dragon Ball Zelda, we made it. We made it to Hyrule Castle Town. We did it, Mum. We made it to Hollywood. We're gonna have our names up in lights. Hopefully not, because that constitutes us being on fire. Probably.
I think that was Renji's Sweet 16.
And that being on fire.
His name.
So what? A year ago. You child. Baby.
I am full grown and of age, thank you very much.
All these children that I have to babysit.
My AC is higher than my age, that is true.
My character's an adult, he's 19.
Dad is mad.
I'm still the youngest.
I imagine Ziden's the oldest.
Well, how old are you?
Old enough to have had a wife and a child?
Right, okay, so you're older than I am. Okay, so granddad, I'm dad.
You're down, kids!
But enough eugenics. Eugenics aside. Back to the plot.
That's slightly different.
Back to the genetic. Fuck off. I don't know. I don't know sciences. Back to the plot. We made it to Hyrule Castle Town. We caught another two misfits for a gaggle of fuckwits in the form of Ziden and Max, an old ass Sheikah Druid man, and the stranger, the outsider, a Hylian in our midst.
What?
You are not one of the lads on tour. You are not.
Racist.
You are not one of the lads on tour.
No, you're not one of the Sheikah lads on tour. You can still be a lad on tour.
I'm your groupie.
That's fine. We need it. We need one. A roadie.
Yeah. I'll just carry things for you.
The pack. Oh yeah. I'm sure that won't be given the wrong idea with a bunch of four ostentatiously dressed Sheikah men walk into a town with their ragamuffin Hylian with carrying all their stuff.
Yeah.
Please, master.
Say ostentatiously dressed, but I mean, casually glances at Hikan. Continue.
Shut up, monk hobo. Drunk monk hobo. We arrived in Hyrule Castle Town. We met Lord Simeon, the Minister of Education, who's a nice fellow, and who has also given us a job. So that he will basically task us with finding artifacts and whatnot, and we will be paid for it. We're a collective Indiana Jones now.
Hooray.
Except we're not bitches and leaves them in museums. We're getting paid for it. We ain't punks. We know what we're doing. We're defamating many historical cultures for the sake of knowledge and money. Myself and Renji went over to Hyrule Castle and had some good old, let's talk to all the cool court Sheikah and stuff, including actual dad. Actual dad Nihilus, and actual and also angry Grunkle Zelish, who's just so disgruntled all the time. I wish he was proud of me. I wish. we've got to see glimpses of the royal family in the form of Prince Rufus, who's a nerd. He's a good nerd, but he's a nerd nonetheless. We met a racist guy who is who is currently the Minister of Jobs.
Of Labour.
Jobs.
Yeah, no difference.
Minister of Jobs.
He is the job centre.
He is the job centre. He's a jobber, is what he is. And he was like, I don't know what all these non-Hylians in my Hyrule Castle Town.
These dirty non-Hylians come and taking our jobs.
Yeah,
He was saying all these non-locals when I'm like the only non-local here.
Hylian. Two of us were born in. Two of us have spent most of our lives in Hyrule Castle Town. And it's like, yeah.
I like your rhetoric. It's also completely wrong.
I appreciate the enthusiasm, but fuck you.
Yeah.
Essentially.
That guy's. I've already forgotten his name. Lord Rickshaw. Thank you. I'm glad someone remembered.
I literally have it as a note for Hikan to call him asshole next time they meet. So.
Nice. He's the kind of motherfucker to say I'm not racist, but he's that kind of person.
Yeah.
I don't know, he seems slightly more on the lines of just saying the racist shit.
It's
Yeah,
good old South Carolina Confederacy loves of racism.
He's
so
not.
He says it with a complete straight face.
He's not. I'm not. It's not. I'm. His rhetoric isn't really. I'm not racist, but his rhetoric is. It's not racist. It's true in his mindset, which is.
Ooh,
yeah,
so he is. He is Baptist Confederacy.
Yeah.
Hooray! I'm Jim Forrest of the South Carolina Confederate. Do you hear that? Well, hey, what? Must have been the way. Let's get ready to die. Oh, I love that song. Housing and Rich. Yeah. We got a job, we got accommodation, we've got 2 new stragglers.
You had a kind of horrific eating competition.
You will learn.
Yeah, that
You will
tends to
learn.
happen.
You will learn. You will learn our ways, and you will appreciate. If you do not partake, you will say nothing. You will
I will
smile.
only partake if I can partake as a brown bear.
I can manage saying nothing.
I also have a good time just enjoying my meal.
Then are we agreed?
Hey. Hikan and Sho both enjoy their meals. The more that they eat, the more they can enjoy.
Yeah. We enjoy our meals like all shonen protagonists do, not savouring any flavour and just scoffing down as much as possible and hoping we don't die of indigestion.
Superpowers.
But enough talk. How about you? It's time to begin.
It's time to begin, and our game begins the following morning. Thankfully, outside, the weather seems to have held up in a fairly decent way. It hasn't rained since yesterday, which is good in certain cases. How many of you slept on a Simeon's estate?
I would have stayed there.
If Ziden stayed, Max would have.
Okay.
Not gonna turn up a free bed.
I probably like waltzed my ass on back to a Hyrule Castle and like sleep in my old quarters and whatnot.
I would have slept in my own room, yes.
Okay.
And I would also pick up the armor and would find if there are any books that would have been left at the library for me.
Okay. Alright, so we'll go with team staying at Simeon's first, which I think is everybody except for Renji and Sho. You awaken or have been staring at the wall for the past several hours because you wake faster than everybody else does. In very, very comfortable rooms. They are fairly large. General noble kind of pseudo-royal color scheme of dark reds and golds and dark greens that pervade the entire room. You have been sleeping in a 4-poster king-sized bed.
Max wouldn't have. It's too comfortable for him to sleep on the floor. Even though the floor is probably also almost too comfortable for him.
It's nice and carpeted, the floor. But yeah, each of your rooms has it has a bed, it has a chair, it has drawers that you can use to keep your stuff in, and like a walk-in closet. If you haven't left your rooms by now, chances are you would have heard the door open and close as someone from one of the neighboring rooms heads across the landing and heads downstairs.
I would have imagined Ziden would have gone down pretty much when he gets up.
Okay.
Just look around the place.
Yeah. Simeon's estate it's kind of a very standard, what you would expect from a fantasy manor house. There are 3 floors. You currently stay on the first floor. Down on the ground floor, you have the library and the office and the drawing room, as well as the dining room and the kitchen, all of which are able to accommodate at least 20 people. Like the table from last night is a very long table. You did have to raise your voices in order to actually speak to each other properly. And the kitchen is staffed by at least 5 people at a time, and they're constant. And they have this rotating system where these different people come in. They make some food or are prepared to make food. So if you got up at some point during the night in order to get some snacks, this is probably where you would have gone. As the day breaks and Tyrina heads down before the dawn, there is the people in the kitchen are already hard at work preparing a breakfast. And it smells as you're wandering around. You head in the general direction of the kitchen. You can smell the food coming to you. It's a very delicate mixture of smoked meats and eggs and sweetbreads, and just it smells gorgeous.
Hikan's probably at the table, just waiting. He's been up for a while.
My thought would be that Ziden ritual cast speak with animals and is just going greeting everything outside. Just, being polite to their current neighbours.
Yeah, there's
Even if the neighbours are birds.
Yeah, they're just like several sparrows, and occasionally a cat wanders by. But they all kind of respond in their own variations of good morning or hello or what's that? And dogs particularly get excitable as they wander by. It's like,
Squirrel!
You! Friend! Squirrel! Squirrel! It's just gone down the street.
That poor squirrel.
Eventually Tyrina joins you, and I imagine Max probably joins you guys after
He
some time.
eventually shuffles down the stairs and plonks down at the table.
And as servants bring out these platters of food, of these various different, mainly pork when it comes to the meat, but there's also eggs, there's also plenty of fruits and vegetables, toasted breads and everything. And as you're being served this food, the door opens to the dining room and Simeon wanders in. He's slouched over. There are plenty of bags under his eyes, and he has a book under one arm, and he just says, "Good morning."
Hikan nods with a mouthful of food.
You been busy?
No, just reading up on some new acquisitions that I have. I haven't really gone to sleep just yet, but have to burn the candle at both ends in order to get things done around here, aye? He wanders over to the head of the table, sits down, and just pulls in like a mug of water begins to drink. So, have you been enjoying the accommodation? I know that 2 of our number have decided to decline the invitation to stay for at least for now.
I think they might have gone to their own beds in the castle area thing.
That's perfectly fine with them. If they have a place that they would like to stay, then I will not take offense.
It was different. It was nice, but it was different. And thank you. Starts eating again.
And the 2 of you, what did you find everything to your liking? Everything accommodated for you?
That's too squishy.
I found it acceptable, thank you.
Excellent. And you, Lady Paladin, and Tyrina just kind of wipes her mouth with the back of her hand. She's not in her chainmail armor just yet. She's kind of just wearing the underlay sort of leather armor gambeson that would usually go under it. She kind of nods and says, "Yeah, I agree. I agree with the Hylian over there. The beds are far too squishy. I mean, could you get like a wooden plank or a rock or something?" He goes, "Well, I'm sure we can work something out."
The carpet was fine.
And as he takes out his ring, he says, "Well, I don't have anything for you to do today, though I am certain that with recent paper signings, that some requests will be coming in for the moment. So feel free to wander the city or come back or stay here at the estate until something arrives. I'm sure it shouldn't be too long. They usually come around about early to mid-morning." And as he says that, we'll transfer over to the castle. Now you 2 have your own rooms at the castle. Would you like to... who would like to go first, and who would like to describe what their room is like, considering that they live there?
Well, age before beauty.
Responsibility before vanity, I believe is the word, is what you're looking for.
No, definitely not.
Sho's room in the castle is probably a bit different too. Like it's definitely not like the rooms that the royal family would be in, like that big, grand, sweeping, big old like double trestles on their beds and everything, like big lap of luxury. No, I imagine that most of the court Sheikah would have their own separate rooms because Sho is training directly under them. He probably has like somewhere nearer the barracks. Not as probably like he has a room in the barracks and probably like stays with the soldiers, purely because he probably trains them more often than not. Although his room is pretty bare bones, he's not a materialistic fellow. It's just stuff for more pouches of whatever, so he can smoke for his pipe, things like tobacco and whatnot. Or like whatever the Hylian equivalent is.
Well, we'll call it tobacco for now until we come up with a different name.
Yeah. There's maintenance stuff for his sword, which is like, you know, good old like he's got like whetstones to sharpen it, things, powders and resins and stuff to keep the blade clean and sharp and whatnot. There's books. There's a fair few books, considering his role as a wizard. There's also a fair bit of basic tailoring stuff, considering that he takes a fair bit of pride in keeping up his image as a Sheikah, with his like Howry and everything. Everything there is all practical. There's no like there's nothing that would suggest any rank or station other than maybe like an incense burner because he's a hippie like that. No, Sheikah. They're all fucking ninjas, aren't they? they're all either weebs or actual Japanese people. So,
Hippie ninjas.
hippie ninja weebs, fantastic. Sheikahs in a nutshell. And he would probably, at this point, he would probably already be out of his room early morning because Sheikah don't need to sleep as long as full-blooded Hylians. He probably woke up, read up on his spells, did some morning stretches, light exercise, and is probably just waiting somewhere in the grounds for some shitboot little kid to wake up, stop preening himself, so we can go and do our jobs.
Oh dear! And as you're waiting on the castle grounds, you see coming down a corridor. You see the familiar form of Impa in her, with her hair tied back into a tight, practical bun, her form-fitting leather armor, and she's currently walking with her hands behind her back, and next to her, rather early up for the morning for the kid, is Prince Rufus. Now, I didn't really describe him well enough in the previous session, so I'll describe him here. Prince Rufus is 12. He's about 3 to 4 feet tall, with very finely combed brown hair, wearing a sort of practical. I say practical. Wears a noble's attire with a blue tunic with black and gold highlights. With matching pantaloons and formal buckled shoes, and he's currently just wiping the sleep out of his eyes, and the two of them come your way, and Impa stops the both of them as they come next to you, and he says, good morning, Sho.
Sho doffs his hat as would be in the presence of royalty, and Lady Impa, young Prince Rufus, good morning to you both.
Prince Rufus is like, good morning. Impa looks down to him and says, he wanted to go for a little bit of an adventure, a little bit of a walk, see what the more practical side of our guarding capabilities were. So I told him that part of that is getting up early in the morning.
Be careful what you wish for, young. Especially with Lady Impa around, you'll have to work at her for you.
And Rufus is like, so long as she's around, she can keep me safe.
Of course.
And Impa says to you, it says, well, word around the castle says that you've managed to get yourself a job.
Indeed. It appears that I'll be procuring items to assist the research of Lord Simeon.
He's
an erudite fellow. I have no problems with the arrangement. I get to practice my own skills. I learn more. And since young Master Renji will be joining me, at least that means I can keep tabs on him and maybe heal them if I need to.
Well, that's certainly fair. But in any case, just remember your training, remember your duty, and if you need a hand with anything, do let us know.
Of course.
Okay, well, I guess I'll be letting you go on to it. Come along, my liege. We have a lot of things to see if you wish to see the extent of our guard work. And Rufus just nods and says, yes, Impa, thank you. And Rufus kind of does sort of like in a combination of being tired and being 12 and not really learned in the sense, he does kind of a botched sort of formal bow to you, and then runs off after Impa as she wanders further down the corridor.
Sho smiles to himself and puts his hat back on and waits for Mr. Vane to arrive.
Meanwhile, with Mr. Vane.
Call him Mr. Right or Mr. Wrong, but call him Renji, the son of
Yes.
Manus.
Renji would wake up a little later than Sho would. Since he doesn't have any formal duties, it is more common for him to sleep in a little and either have made sure that he would have been receiving breakfast in his room, or would go to the kitchens to just fish up something. His room is like for a noble, given the fact that Sheikah nobility aren't like the major players in the castle. It is still pretty nice, I would say. Basically, he has a comfortable bed, some other furniture, like a desk and some chairs. He has a wardrobe that is perhaps a little extravagant for a person of his age. He has quite a lot of clothes. And there's also this bit of the desk where he has some cosmetics for the Sheikah face paints, but also some things that he just enjoys wearing. So he'd wake up, and probably today he would just go to the kitchen to get something to eat.
Okay.
Amateur. Actually paints on his markings rather than getting tattooed like a real man.
Oh no, he doesn't really care for masculinity or femininity or anything.
Sure, why not?
So you get up and you wander along the rather expansive corridors of Hyrule Castle. Guards posted at each possible accessway and different junction at the corridors, and eventually you find yourself passing through into the massive dining area, the kind of the formal audience dining area, where there is it's a really big hall where there are 2 tables flanked on either side of the room, long enough to accommodate at least 100 people, with a raised podium at the end where the royal family no doubt sits. There's at least 5 thrones there, 2 in the center, with a couple of smaller ones either side. One of them is clearly, as you are likely aware, has been empty for quite some time. But as you pass through, you head into the back room. You head into the doors behind this hallway and into the colossal kitchen, where a staff of 20 dedicated cooks and cleaners and testers and suppliers just work hard on providing food for the castle, already commencing their work on breakfast. And while there, the head chef, this burly but still kind of rotund Hylian man, with a big bushy beard.
A great big
Bushy beard. Is standing essentially within the center of the area as much as possible, and is shouting orders to different people like, "You make sure those eggs are properly fried, and you turn the meat over every 20 minutes. I don't want it being singed on one side. You hear me?" And just going on and on and on, just not letting people let up. And you know this man as being Samson Graves, and he is the head chef for Hyrule Castle, and he has been that way for about 20 years now, and no one is a big fan of him.
Yes, Chef Ramsay.
Also, before I head to the kitchens, I will have, from a kind of a hidden compartment in my wardrobe, I would have brought the Book of Twilight Lore that I have, and have put it in my bag of holding.
Okay.
And seeing the chef busy as always, I think I normally just give him a nod to acknowledge, and then probably just pick up some things that are in abundance there, but not really something that he immediately is working with.
Yeah, so there's like bags of apples and oranges in one area where one worker is taking something out and is shaving off the skin, cutting them into pieces, putting them in a different area where they are to be served, and you can take from either pile. Quite easy enough. There's plenty of food in these areas. There's freshly baked bread that you can pick up. Pieces of artisan craft bacon just on several plates, piled high, still warm, having been removed from the stoves.
I have a question.
Yes.
How does one artistry craft bacon?
It's just no one knows, but it's still so delicious and looks so great.
Okay.
Instant million hits on your Instagram feed, that kind of bacon.
Oh, right, okay. I'm pretty sure bacon does that anyways, because it's bacon.
I'm so glad I ate just before this game.
Yeah, you managed to grab a fair amount of things. Samson's does acknowledge your presence, but he doesn't stop just giving out orders to these people. Clearly he anticipates a large work haul ahead.
So seeing how busy he is, I will not bother him and just make sure that I'm in a spot that isn't trafficked heavily by the chefs and the aides. I just start having a bit of a breakfast and just biting that crunchy bacon.
Mm-hmm. So you managed to get yourself some decent breakfast. It's sweet and crispy at the same time. The bread itself is very doughy and fresh, and as you can tell, I'm not exactly terribly good at describing food without getting hungry myself, so I'll be a bit sparing on that one.
Weak-willed man.
But yeah, after you manage to get your fill on breakfast, where do you head?
The only stop that I really have is the library.
Okay.
That's books.
Okay, so you head down the corridors, you find yourself back in the library, and at the front desk, still diligent as ever, is Mara. She adjusts her spectacles as she looks over all these different books that have just been haphazardly piled on different desks, and she looks up over to you and smiles slightly. Despite the hour of the morning, she seems fairly fresh-faced, and she says, hello, Renji, sir, how are you this morning?
Renji will do, thank you, Mara. I'm doing quite well. How are you?
I'm okay. I managed to get a decent start in trying to organize some of these books, but you know how it is. This place is colossal.
It's never a dull moment, isn't it?
Not particularly. I'm sorry to say that I've been trying my best to find books within here as your father requested, but I can't seem to find anything particularly on the enchanting side. I think Lord Zelish might have actually taken a fair amount of the enchanting books.
All right. Well, I do appreciate the effort. I think, well, if I have time, I'll talk to Master Zelish.
Sure. I'll keep looking as best I can, but
Thank you. I do appreciate that. Anything else? Just.
Well, not really. I mean, I found a couple of books on myths and stuff, but that's about it.
Like, are those primers or just compilations?
More encyclopedias than anything else.
Like, how many books did you find on that?
And she looks nervously over to one corner and points to the pile, which is almost as tall as you are.
Huh. I don't suppose you have a neat collection of like the highlights?
I'm sad to say I don't.
Nah, that's quite alright. I'll probably be back sometime soon, and I can, if that's possible, peruse some of it then.
Sure. It'd be nice to have you back.
Thank you. And I hope you have a pleasant day. As Renji just then leaves.
She responds in kind, gives you a nod, says how you have a pleasant day, and you head out. Where to next?
Given the fact that I do have a standing appointment with Minister Simeon, I will just go and head over there, probably passing Sho Daius on the way.
Who's been standing here waiting
For about 2 hours now, as you...
when I was your age.
I didn't ask you to wait for me.
Huh? Oh, I'm taking the piss. I'm not.
So yeah, eventually as you Sho, you see coming down the corridor, you see not Nihilus, you see his son Renji coming down the corridor, seemingly prepared for the day ahead.
You see me just with the bag of holding, but not armed. There, I don't have the shield at the ready.
Sho does doff his hat and is like, good day, Your Majesty. Time stops for no one, it would seem.
Seriously, have you no understanding of etiquette? I'm not Your Majesty.
Oh, jeez.
and Renji says that with a smirk.
One time I tried to be funny.
Yes, you do try indeed.
Never again. Never
Ha.
again. As punishment for your failures, today I will be even more of a douche to you.
I see. But was it not your failure of not being funny? Shall we?
Yes, please.
And Renji, with just staying just a step ahead of Sho, is just grinning the widest grin.
Sho grumbles as he lights up his pipe.
And we head to Minister Simeon's place.
So you leave the castle, you head down the path along the nice big field, heading out the north gate and towards Lord Simeon's estate. I'm gonna put you on the Castle Town map for a second. And venturing that way, you soon come across the familiar sight of Lord Simeon's estate. The two guards outside standing as diligent as ever. It's about late to mid morning, or I say mid to late morning by the time you arrive. Do you just head in, or do you wait outside for a particular reason, or?
I'll just I think I'll make an appearance. Basically just introduce myself. If the guards don't know me yet, probably they have some indication. And I'm just making sure that I can enter with Sho.
Okay. So you head inside. You see the entryway, and you can already see with the door open. You can see your other companions in the dining area of the estate.
I suppose we'll head over there, don't we, Sho?
Mm-hmm. He's going to be grumbly this morning.
I suppose so.
So you head inside. The rest of you see Sho and I keep calling you Nihilus. You're not Nihilus. Sho and Renji entering the room.
I mean, Nihilus is close to my actual name, so.
And there you go, people, like the two people that listen to this, a deep insight to the players' lives.
And that is all you'll get.
Absolutely riveting.
That's enough clues for the internet.
Yes.
Upon seeing Renji and Sho come in, Hikan remembers the what was it that he bought yesterday?
Ruby.
The thing.
Jewel. Oh, the Ruby of the War Mage.
Yep.
He remembers that he bought that, and he excitedly, since he didn't get a chance to last night, waves Renji and Sho over to him.
Yeah, I'm happy enough to join and see what Hikan has to say.
Indeed, he's always hyperactive, but maybe it's for an actual reason this time.
And when they're close enough, Hikan will pull it out and.
Oh my!
Well, let's take us to dinner first. Jeez.
I mean, it is quite the ruby.
I know that you guys use magic, and I know sometimes using magic is tough. Found out a lot of that these past few days, but I went over to Uriel's. He scrunches his face a little bit. Magnificent magical
machinations. Very good.
Alright. And I told him about it, and he said that this was a Ruby of the War Mage, and I wanted to give it to one of you as a gift. I don't know who can use it, though, because I don't know much about magic.
Well, both of us? The only thing is that neither of us are particularly in need of one.
I mean, you can
I'm
use
looking it over and just like, can you tell me what it does? Because otherwise, I mean, I could probably figure it out myself, but that takes time.
Yeah, I mean, you can roll an Arcana check if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that, and that is
Being a blade singer.
That's an 8.
It's an 8.
So,
Being a blade singer, Sho knows what the fuck this thing is.
Yeah.
Blade lets you use the weapons, like any martial weapon, something that you would use to not cast spells, and allows you to use it as a focus for casting said spell.
So you don't need to use thingies, I think. I don't know. He spoke really fast.
Actually, this... I mean, this might be useful, but I would need... And Renji's just a little bit lost in thought as he considers the options. Then he turns back to Hikan, saying, I suppose I could use this? Yeah, I think so. I mean, and he pulls from the bag of holding the iron wrought dagger that they took off of the Gerudo witch.
Okay.
They say, I mean, I could use it with this.
Was that the creepy dagger?
That was a creepy dagger.
The shadow dagger.
The shadow dagger, yes.
Ooh.
Hikan nods and hands Renji the ruby.
And holding the ruby, Renji will take the time needed to affix it to the dagger.
So that'd be about an hour then.
If
Renji
Renji
standing there
has
in
the
the corner.
time for that, yes.
As you start doing it, Sho is just going to be like, you might, I'd say later. It's not a simple magical construct. It will take some time to fix.
I understand that, Sure. It's just, if we have the time, if Lord Simeon, Are we required soon?
Just as you say that, Smith, the butler, comes in with like a silver plate with 3 scrolls on it. And Simeon looks over fairly tired and says, "Well, I suppose that would be about the thing that you might be needed for." And Smith brings it over to Simeon, and he looks over them and says, "Yes, these are definitely work requests. I suppose it would be a prudent idea to have a look over them and see which ones that you would be wanting to accomplish first. And I will make them available to you all to view in your documents thing." So there's 3 work requests available. One is called Animal Helping. Another one is called Bandit Defense. And another one is called Pest Control.
You may choose one of the 3 selected job requests, or you may have what's inside the mystery box.
So whoever...
I choose mystery box!
You sure you don't want to at least look at the other job requests?
Mystery box!
Mystery box!
We're looking for a job, and like we've got jobs there, but I mean, what's in the mystery box could be a job. You know how much that we want those.
So essentially what you need to do is, whoever wants to, you can read them out loud, or you can read them quietly and let the audience stew on them for a brief period
All right.
of time.
In that case, work
I will-
request.
I
Pest
will,
control.
I will take
But
the animal.
I was starting. Shush.
No, I'm just.
Work
that's not-
request. Pest
Children, calm down!
Why? Boris, tavern owner of the Wasp's Nest Tavern, located in the lower income area of Castle Town's eastern residential district, is making a request to have someone take care of a pest problem in his tavern's kitchen. Reward is 100 gold pieces provided by the Department of Labor, and 10 gold pieces per pest eliminated. So that's number 1. Number 2, work request, animal help. Pet shop owner Paul has made a request for aid in finding out what is keeping his animals up at night. The animals in question appear to be making loud noises at night and are unable to sleep properly, leading Amy to be ill and not fit for sale.
Damn it,
Oh,
Miss
Manny.
Manny, there we go.
Reward negotiable, maximum 200 gold pieces, which is just 200 gold pieces, I suppose.
Well, you have to argue him into giving 200.
Number 3, work request, bandit defense. Bandits have created a blockade along one of the lesser roads to the northeast and have repelled guards and prevented trade. Witnesses claim the leader is much stronger than their compatriots. They prevent access to a man-made ramp up a small cliff and charge an extortionate amount of money. Reward 300 gold pieces. Choose your warrior.
Sho definitely bristles at the prospect of A, getting to show some unjust douchebag bandits what's what, and also
No, A is pest control.
there's a strong person amidst their ranks. A potential. Sho basically is just like, someone who is strong. I get to fight them. Yeah. Yes.
I think, Sho, the word you're looking for is someone's been naughty.
Okay, aside from it, I believe if we go to the pet shop, I could simply ask the animals what the problem is.
I mean, that's easy money. Yeah, let's go with that.
Right,
And,
there is.
and Hikan points to the last scroll and goes, "But milk."
Oh boy. Well, that kind of... Hikan... I mean... I mean, that's as good a reason as any, isn't it?
I would imagine the pest control not to take too long either.
I am a man of simple tastes, Renji.
And I'm gonna
Can we
say.
just do all these?
I was about to say, let's take care of the easiest one first, which I'm assuming is going to be the pest control. But the pest control, the animal handling one. And then if we have time for it, dealing with bandit defense, because that's causing an actual problem for multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that is a liability to Hyrule's trade out on the whole. And doing so for Mr. Rickshaw would probably... He'll His jowls might bristle at the fact that we've helped trade.
Hikan straight looks at Simeon. Can we take all of them?
I don't see why not.
He grabs all the scrolls.
Oh! Then let us deal with the smallest ones first and build up.
So I
Yes,
guess
which
just
one is the smallest scroll?
Oh, which is closest?
Aren't you funny?
Physically closest is going to be going to the pet shop.
Alright, let's go to the pet shop.
Okay.
We are the pet shop boys, let's roll.
Hikan's
Pet
gonna
shop
stay
lad.
back.
Lads.
Okay.
Hikan's gonna stay back. He wants to talk with Simeon about something real quick.
Okay.
Rightio.
So as you...
As they turn the corner, leaving, Hikan kind of stiffens up a bit and looks to Simeon with as much respect as he can muster. And I was sent from my monastery in the west to find certain things. And generally, you want us to find artifacts. And the reason why I asked to send a letter is because I had to send a letter to my monastery letting my master know this. I'm looking for a specific artifact, and I would be curious if I could hold on to it a bit. If we find it, I don't think we will. But if we find it, if I could hold on to it a bit before turning it over.
I would imagine so. There, come, sit down. And he kind of gestures to a chair next to him on the table.
Hikan takes a seat.
He says, truth be told, the core thing that I would like to focus on at this point in time would be to answer a question that has plagued a lot of people recently, which is the core start to the civil war that we are still somehow in. No record that I have found has explained exactly why it started, what circumstances caused this eons-long conflict, where countless people have died to have started in the first place. It's a remarkable mystery. Artifacts would help knowing exactly what can be done, how they can be used if they were used, and would be of general intrigue and education to the people of Hyrule Castle Town. But I understand that they hold a significance to you. So all I would ask, if you find it, would be, or find these things that you're looking for, perhaps to allow us to study it for at least for a small period of time, and then we'll gladly hand them to you.
Okay, I can accept that.
Good.
Hikan smiles, stands up, bows, and then dashes like a tan and white blur to his companions.
Okay. Excellent. So, you head out of the estate and into Hyrule Castle Town proper. You find yourself moving along the roadways, past various people going about their business, doing whatever it needs to be done, shopping, trading, discussing other business with each other. And as you head down the roads, Sho and Renji are probably have been around enough to know where they need to go to find Paul. And you find yourselves at the Menagerie Pet Shop, which is there on the map in the Eastern Residential District. You find yourself at a fairly small shop. And there's a little wooden sign over the double doors, more or less like one of those tavern signs, but the picture itself appears to be of a person chasing various different animals with the word menagerie underneath it. Not many people go in and out, and you can hear the low chatter of dogs and cats and birds and other animals that might be inside.
I suppose we should introduce ourselves, shouldn't we? And I step into the shop and talk to anyone who's like behind the counter, or and just ask for the owner, Paul.
Okay. So you head in, and you see in cages, you see dogs, some as big as mastiffs, just in their cages. They seem to have appropriate water and bedding and everything. You see birds in their cages. You see tanks with fish, and they line the walls, while in the center you have various different stalls and stands where food and other supplies are kept. And behind the desk is a young man who appears to be wearing kind of a scrappy assortment of leather and cloth. And he seems very tired and disheveled, and he looks over to you and he smiles. And as you ask for Paul, he says, "Oh, I'm Paul."
Well, nice to meet you, Paul. My name is Renji, son of Nihilus, and we have heard that you are in need of some work to be done.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, the animals, they haven't been getting much sleep. Every night they're up and shouting at something, and I have no idea what it is. They just can't get any rest, and a lot of them are getting sick because they can't get some sleep.
That's quite unfortunate to hear. We are a band here. We actually have someone that can probably just make heads or tails of what really is going on. Is it okay if we can examine the animals?
By all means, certainly. And he pushes himself off the counter and heads over to whatever animal that you wanted to examine first. It's like, do you have any particular preference, or is it just any of them?
And as I do that, I glance over at Ziden.
What would be the most intelligent animal in the shop?
Oh, that's...
Surprise! There's a dolphin here.
What are the most intelligent animal in this our shop? We've been talking to him.
Let's see. I'm going to hazard a guess and say it's probably going to be one of the dogs.
Okay, I shall ritual cast Speak with Animals and then go over to the dog and greet him.
As
Hello
a cat person, I am insulted.
Could be one of the smart breeds of dogs. Right.
It's like a border collie.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. There's this sizable animal. So it looks like it's probably a year old tops. This admittedly kind of would look playful and fit and healthy if it weren't for the fact that it just seemed so tired. Kind of looks at you as you cast your spell with its big brown eyes, and eventually you cast your spell and it just kind of tilts its head to the side, not saying anything just yet.
Yeah. Okay. Hello there, in animal.
Hello.
Bork.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting conversation for everyone else.
Yes, I do the barking.
Hello there. I am here to assist with whatever is causing you trouble at night.
You're
Would you be
here
able-
to take care of the bad thing?
Indeed. Would you be able to tell me about it?
There's a thing that's outside. It's a bad thing.
Outside in which direction?
Out there, and he points his snout towards the door. And says, it just, every night some bad thing comes up, and me and my friends here, we shout at it and tell it to go away, and after about an hour it goes away, and then we go to sleep. Or we try to, but we don't get some sleep. It's tiring. You have any food?
I give him a good berry.
Just kind of noms at it. The rest of it, you can hear this, now that you can speak animal, the rest of the animals kind of see this and look over and it's like,
Food.
food.
Mine.
Food only for anyone with more pertinent information.
And as you go around asking the animals in a cacophony of different accents that I cannot do, they all pretty much say the same thing. The birds, which are on the shelves that can see out the window, say that it's a variety of different people. Sometimes it's a girl, sometimes it's an elderly person, sometimes it's a homeless man. It's just a repeating cycle of something turns up outside the door and then leaves after an hour, and that's it.
I shall inquire to try and find out the time, probably based on if there's any kind of indication of time. There's bells here, isn't there?
There's bells, yeah. So there's like when you say bells, do you mean like the kind of standard store bells that?
I thought you. Am I thinking of somewhere else? I thought you said there was like bells telling the time of day.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. There is kind of like a midnight bell, but then again, it's midnight, and no one would appreciate bell ringing at midnight.
As far as I remember, like in most central city towns, churches won't ring the bell at midnight. The last bell is at 9. The last bell is at 9. The first is at 7.
Yeah. So between the animals that somehow are capable of telling time, it seems like the general time scale is between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning. But not all animals can tell time, sadly. So it's difficult to get any kind of concrete answer from them.
That's good enough. So, sometime between midnight and 2 a.m., a figure stands outside for pretty much an hour, since they're all saying it's 1 hour.
Yeah.
And then it leaves. Which case...
Now all you have to do is you have to convert human years into dog years, and then use the maths so that you can convert hours.
Yeah, so
isn't that like a
few minutes.
I was about to say, isn't that like a few minutes, if that?
I would ask if they can get anything else from it, such as a scent.
The dogs and cats, which have decent smell, say that the smells are different. Like much in the same way that the birds say that the person that they see is different, the other animals say that the smell is different.
So the last thing to be asking is why? What do they know about it that makes it bad?
None of them can explain it. Like they feel like there's something threatening about it, but they don't know why. They just know that whatever's outside that door either has ill intention or is of something particularly threatening, and their natural instinct is to aggressively bark or growl or tweet at it until it goes away, or to alert somebody else, possibly the person who owns the shop, in order to get them to safety or to get them to deal with it. Okay. Much in the same way that for some reason dogs bark at mailmen all the damn time.
Okay, I will relay the information I have gathered so far to the rest of the party, and then suggest we just look outside to see if there's anything obvious at where it stands.
You mentioned that they smell different things.
Yeah.
Can you ask them what they smell specifically?
I shall ask.
When they say different things, it's more or less they smell different people, like different scents.
Like the homeless man smells like cocaine.
Yeah.
I did not know.
Not very helpful. Damn it, animals.
So they always look different, they always smell different, but they give off the same threatening aura, basically.
Yeah.
This must be the work of an enemy stand.
Yes, this must be the work of an enemy standing there.
In which case, I shall now also ritual cast Detect Magic. And then look around.
So you cast a spell.
I like that the rest of us are just standing around here, just admiring the pet shop, whilst this one druid motherfucker is just talking to animals.
Well, you could like pet some animals. They're lovely pets.
That's what we're doing. We're just like, oh yeah, animals. So you're just like, hello there. I'm having an actual conversation.
You treat them as pets. I treat them as real people.
Not like the dumb animal baby talk that most people do. Like, legitimately just like, I'm having an actual conversation with this animal. It's like, fucking nerd.
So what do you think of the economy? Bark, 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 bark. Oh my.
That's some radical
say
food you
that?
have there.
In the bathroom?
At this time of year, at this time of day, this
yeah.
part of the country.
So-
Max is deliberately standing away from all the animals in case his dragon blood sets them off.
Oh shit.
So essentially,
Turns to Paul and asks, "How long have they been staying up at night? How many nights?"
about a week now. The neighbors aren't exactly big fans.
Did something happen a week ago? Like something special come by, or?
Not that I can remember.
And
So,
since this has started happening, have you checked out the surrounding area anyway, or do you sleep here
I
or
sleep-
nearby?
I sleep here. I haven't been able to get a good sight on anything that they've been doing. Usually I'm a fairly heavy sleeper, but I did see someone walking away from the shop at least once. But nothing suspect. And Ziden, with your detect magic, you find that there is no magic in the area. At least nothing significant that isn't among any of the kind of background magic that seems somewhat normal. Like, you don't... you pick up stuff like the bag of holding and all that kind of stuff that's in the general area, but you don't sense anything that would...
Ooh, now I know
be-
they have a bag of holding.
You sense that the bag is magical in some way.
Like, don't I sense what particular class of magic it is?
Yeah, you do.
Possibly, but I forget
Yes, you
what's...
Double
Yeah.
science.
Magic does.
It turns up as different colours depending on which school of magic it is.
Basic trigonometry.
Yeah, but I've completely forgotten what school of magic a bag of holding belongs to. It's probably like...
That'd be Abjure, wouldn't it? Would it be
It'd
Abjure?
probably be abjurate. Whatever teleportation or plane, like
Conjuration.
demi-plane, yeah.
Abjuration or conjuration, then?
Because abjuration is like things like barriers and stuff. It's protective.
I could see conjuration.
Yeah. Conjuration, something like that.
I'll also quickly glance outside, like, go outside to look around in case the magic detection is blocked by the window or whatever.
So you head outside and you look around as people begin to mill about. You don't see anything in particular, or you don't detect anything out of the ordinary. The ground seems fairly normal. The door seems fairly normal. There doesn't appear to be anything particularly magical within the immediate area.
Hikan's gonna look out the door and see if he can see like footprints or anything from somebody coming up stationary or just standing in an area for a while. It's been going on for a week.
Smudging on the window.
Yeah, make a survival check. This will be part of your tracking thing.
Ooh.
18.
Okay. You don't seem to find any kind of smudges or fingerprints on the windows, so it's possible that whatever comes up hasn't like made physical contact with the windows. The floor seems, or the ground seems to be made out of cobblestones, and doesn't seem to have any kind of imminent marks or anything of that kind. You do find scraps of cloth that are that seem to have snagged on the nearby light post, but otherwise it seems fairly clean.
Hikan will go grab the cloth because Paul said that he saw somebody walking away. And
Okay.
He will hand it to Ziden and ask, can you ask the animals if this smells like the bad things or one of the bad things? And can you ask him if he stands in the same area when they come in?
I shall go ask these questions.
So you kind of present this to the animals with decent smell. And talking to them, they say they recognize at least one incident about 3 days ago where someone with that same scent turned up. As for where they stood, they both say that they stood in pretty much the exact same spot every day that they came by, and then left.
Where is this spot?
Um,
Uses Ziden as a go-between.
Translator.
using Ziden as a go-between, you eventually find that they seem to be standing. Let's see. They appear to be standing about 5 feet away from the door.
But like in front of the actual door itself, not the window.
In front of the actual door itself.
So Hikan stands in that area and just asks for confirmation that this is it.
There's a chorus of tweets and barks to say, yes, that is the place, but they don't continue on as if seeing you as a threatening person.
I suppose we should check with the store owner.
Does somebody have something to write with?
I do, yes.
Could I have it, please?
Sure. And from the bag of holding, Renji picks out a pen, a sheet of parchment, and a bottle of ink, as well as some blotting sand.
Hikan will take a bit of the parchment, actually, dip it in the ink, and make a small X on the stone in between his feet.
Okay.
Okay, and then hand everything back to Renji.
And Renji just puts it back, and then says, given that this happens only at night, and it's, well, not even noon yet, why don't we go and do something else before coming back here tonight?
We could always. We should also ask the shopkeeper if he has any idea if someone would want to threaten his business.
Well, yes, that might work. It's just that I'm not sure that we should be staying here for the half of a day.
Oh, of course not. We'll deal with the pests, I believe. The bandits are out of town. So.
That would be my suggestion. Yes.
I've played enough D&D to know how many rats we're going to have to kill now.
Well, before we kill the rats, I could speak with them and say, hey, go away.
They're going to be like, no, fuck you.
Alright. So you're going to ask Paul if he has any enemies. He says,
Many, none that I can tell you, or else I will
"Well,
have to kill you.
I don't think so. I had a friend come over occasionally. He doesn't come by anymore. He was one of the nobles. I believe he was Whitestone's son. Marcus, I think he was. He was a good conversationalist. But he just stopped coming by after a while.
And this son of Lord Whitestone, how was he around the animals?
He was perfectly fine. He loved the little guys. His father wouldn't let him or his brother ever have a pet around the estate. I don't think so. He'd usually come by just to say hello and have a chat while he pet the dogs or fed them or something like that, and then he would go on by.
And the animals did not have an adverse reaction to him?
Not that I know of. They saw him pretty much in the same way that they see me at this point.
All right. Yeah, I don't really know what else to ask. Sho, any ideas?
Sho's been there pondering, just fist clenched under his chin. It's just like, it's like, he's really not sure. It's like something that would emit a menacing aura that would just turn up for like an hour, but just look outside and then leave. He's befuddled by the entire situation. He does. The only thing that I could say we should do would be, when night falls after dealing with the other business, then we could potentially stake out the shop when night falls.
That sounds like a good idea.
Indeed.
Okay.
Since it is early morning, we could still take care of at least the pest control.
Ziden will then nod to Paul and say, "We shall attend to some other business and return around slightly before the time the animals have seen whatever this threat is."
Okay, well, thank you for coming by. It's good to know it's being dealt with.
It's going to be dealt with soon enough.
Thank you. He trudges back over to his desk and leans on it.
I suppose we should go and look for the proprietor of the inn, or the tavern.
Shouldn't be far away, given it's both East residential.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excellent. So you begin to head south, with Renji and Sho leading you in the right direction, as per usual.
It's good having guides.
Good to have you guys.
Yeah, it's customary to tip your guides at least 10%.
10% nothing's nothing.
Ah! Found my floor!
Played like a damn fiddle.
Hikan turns to Tyrina. What's a tip?
The end of a spear.
She shrugs. I'm not sure, but you know, well, I guess we'll find it soon enough. You make your way through the residential areas of Hyrule Castle Town. They are far more cramped than everything else you've seen in the other areas. Terrace houses packed tightly together. People going about their business, and in some areas you'll see people shouting at each other from the windows, and kids playing in the street, having a good old time. But as you head further south, you see that things begin to sour slightly. The buildings become slightly more in disrepair. The people around you seem to become closed off and in some ways almost aggressive, just kind of looking over each of you and snarling or just walking away. As you get
Max instinctively snarls back at least one of them.
Hikan tilts his head confused, but knowing more animalistic and savage tendencies due to his background,
Sho
grabs
does speak
onto his
up.
staff a bit tighter.
Sho does speak up, just loud enough for Max and Hikan to hear, since they're kind of uneased by this. Hyrule Castle Town is a bountiful place, but every glass of a nice drink has some kind of sediment filtering somewhere near the bottom. We're in this part of town is, for lack of a better word, a place where the nobility has seemed to have forgotten, or at least shows no care for people inside.
I'm just confused because everything's so tight together, and everyone over with our friends where we stayed was so spacious. Why don't they share the space?
Politics. Something that is not something that we should go into right now.
as you get
Oh, go ahead.
no, you go for it.
Oh, I was just about to say Hikan shrugs, but lets it drop.
Okay. You head further south and eventually find yourself pretty much towards the proper edge of what is known as the slums of Hyrule Castle Town. You see there are a few people in the streets, and not many of them pay anyone any mind. Occasionally people will, who are kind of sitting on the floor not doing very much, will hold out a hand asking for any spare change that you might have. There are a couple of people who kind of see you and then slink off into alleyways, but eventually you find yourself at an inn. This one building that seems to have a variety of people kind of standing around it, but not actually going inside, and the tavern sign appears to be of a large wasp, and under it, in rather crude lettering, is the Wasp's Nest.
For the people that are begging, I would have given some of them a silver piece each.
Okay.
Sho would have probably done the same.
And basically, the leftover silver pieces that I had, I would have just given away.
Okay.
As they're giving out silver pieces, can Hikan notice any changes in the people around them?
There are a couple of people who, some people retreat, some people look on, and just there's the one or two small smile saying, "Ah, some people care." You could probably make an insight check if you want to get a bit more details. Okay, so that's 22.
That helps.
You can tell in the looks of the eyes of some, there are a couple of people, especially younger individuals, who kind of slink away thinking, they have money, and just kind of...
And now I know where they keep it because they just pulled it out of their purse.
Yeah. So they're formulating their scheming, and it doesn't look particularly pleasant in that regard.
Hikan's going to put on at these kids one of the scariest faces he can imagine.
Make an intimidate check.
13?
13. 13's all right. You kind of just give them the glare, and some of them kind of shirk back, it's like, "Oh, bugger, we've been made," and others just kind of try and do the glare back.
Those who try to do the glare back, Sho is going to do it instead. like Sho stands next to as he's walking alongside Hikan, does the whole thing where he looks over Hikan's head and gives him a glare instead.
Make an intimidate check.
Terrible. They're like, "Wow, this guy's a bitch."
So that's 0.
That's a nat 1 minus 1 is 0.
They're like, "Oh, we can take these guys."
You kind of
Everybody roll initiative.
You kind of attempt to do the glare as behind Hikan, but you misjudge it and take your eyes off it, so you bump into each other, and it's like,
in that case, as this happened, I will just snap around, and I'll just.
You'll attempt the glare?
No. I'll try and.
Safe.
How do you say? I'll try to reinforce my status, and I'll just shout, "This is not what you are supposed to be doing. Just pay attention." And I will try and make this a bit of a performance.
Okay.
Sho
It
looks
could be
back
deception,
with
it could be performance. What do you wish?
Sho looks
Um,
back with like a raised eyebrow, like, "What the?"
I'd say go for performance with this one. Like deception's not right for this. You're trying to make an example of these cretins in your employ.
22.
Nice. And then as you kind of say, "What are you doing? This is not how you're meant to be doing this thing." And people who are within earshot just immediately shrink back, so "Oh fuck," and just not going to be sticking around for this.
He sounds too rich for our blood.
And I'll just rest my hand next to my bag of holding on the shadow dagger.
Okay. As they retreat, as the bystanders retreat to either make a better plan or just grumble about fucking nobility.
Yeah.
Tyrina just kind of waits a bit, then pats you on the back and says, "See, now you're getting it. That's what we mean about confidence."
Why, thank you. So, why is Tyrina?
Okay.
Mash just looks between a lot of you and just shrugs.
As I'm taught, do not question.
So I will. I'll probably enter the wasp's nest first, if no one else wishes to do so.
Okay.
I'll linger and be last in.
Okay. So you kind of open the door, and immediately you're greeted with a stocky, squared-shouldered individual. And he goes, "We're closed."
Yes, because of pests, isn't it?
And he looks over his shoulder and says, "Are you the help?"
I suppose we are.
Great. I'm Boris. And he steps outside and closes the door behind him. And he says, yes, there are pests in there. If you'd be so kind as to go in and get rid of them, that would be fantastic. I'm not able to serve my patron's beer in this environment.
I understand. What kind of pests are we talking about?
They're... He's having a hard time trying to phrase it, but eventually comes out with, I think they're made of jelly.
No.
All right.
Hikan looks horrified. They drank all the beer, didn't they?
Sho bristles a bit and is like, oh, not these things.
There must be beer ooze. Or rather,
Them?
booze.
Booze.
The hand getting ready to clap upside the head is reared and ready to go.
This would be a dexterity saving throw, wouldn't it?
to avoid reprimand.
To avoid reprimand, yeah.
Make a reprimand saving throw. Whack.
So would this be some variety of chew, you think?
I don't know. Fucking made of jelly. Just go and deal with them, mate. Just open the door and like for you to head inside.
Sho does turn to Ziden and nods. It's like more than.
Well,
Listen,
as this happens, Renji just grabs a hold of the weapon on his hip, which isn't there, and just materializes a sword.
This angular blade, which seems to be dripping with this dark, square pixeled energy, which is dripping upwards, just appears in Renji's grip.
It is a longsword style weapon.
Max actually flinches back and is about to say that, and then goes, "Oh, that's cool."
And I stride in.
Sho shakes his head and sighs like, I don't know, waited until we were down there first.
Put on some more appropriate.
He treads down there, hand on his sword.
I think Ziden will take out his bow.
Okay.
I'm crack my knuckles.
Oh yeah, crack.
You head inside to what appears to be a fairly small area. You can see tables set up, but with various things abandoned. There is one doorway over to the western wall that appears to go into the back room. There is no door on a hinge or on hinges there. It's just an open doorway. But the actual building itself appears to be fairly small.
As we step in and wielding this one longsword in my hand, I just pull out a shield from the bag of holding and affix it to my arm.
Okay.
Hikan goes to the doorway.
Okay. Over to the doorway. Now is this... I think this is reveal. There we go.
As Sho's looking at, he's keeping his eyes at the ceiling. Because chews, they have a habit of
Max sees you looking up and checks under the tables just in case.
Yeah.
Okay. There seems to be nothing under the tables. The ceiling seems clear in this area at the very least.
Is there anything in the cups?
It doesn't appear. You check every cup; they appear to be empty or half filled with what is actually ale.
No Jello shots for you, buddy.
No Jello shots yet. Hikan, as you head over, you can look into this room and you see what appears to be a very ramshackle kitchen with 3 barrels in one corner, a preparation table, and another table that's empty. And then standing in the center of the room, or rather kind of gibbling in the center of the room, is this small ball of jelly with 2 large eyes that kind of sit there. And as you look in, they kind of just wander about rather aimlessly, to be fair.
I assume speak of animals doesn't count for whatever the hell chews are.
No, chews are oozes, so they don't
they don't speak.
They don't speak animal. They don't speak at all.
Yeah, They have an intelligence of 1, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they barely qualify as sentient.
Their eyes aren't even eyes, really. It's not like they process information. It's just like, that thing's moving.
That thing's moving, we're gonna body slam it.
Yeah.
Would we have to work out why he suddenly has shoes in the middle of the city?
You might have to do a bit of investigation at some point.
It's not part of the quest, but I think you could if you want.
They turn up in they turn up in caves and like pretty much anywhere that's dark and damp. They're pretty much like fungus.
If you want to make a nature or an arcana check, you might be able to get a preliminary idea.
16.
I suck at both of those.
Joe stands next to Hikan, by the way, and like peers his head around the door and sees the thing like, just one.
Oh, I was going to be like, as soon as Hikan saw it, he shoves his hand back, probably almost hitting Renji in the face, and just, like holds up a finger to signify 1, and looks around the room to try to see if he can see more hiding.
So,
Careful now.
with the nature check, you notice, I don't think, based on where you're currently standing, I don't think you can see it just yet, but with the description that others might be able to give you, this one appears to be one of 2 variety of chews. This chew in particular, well, most chews kind of find themselves in areas that are full of moisture and dampness, basically caves. But this chew in particular may be drawn to more elemental things like a fire or any kind of stormy area, that sort of thing.
Or the cold.
Or the cold, yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll move in to try and get a look at it then to here.
Yeah, you can see it from there.
Are we all just Scooby-Dooing around?
Yes, exactly.
At this one tiny little tube. And it's like,
Hikan's going to make a perception check to see if he can see any other chews or any other sign of anything else.
Somehow our paladin's gone to the back.
Yeah.
So do we all like stack up and then because Tyrina's big, it's like, hey guys, what are we looking at? Everyone falls through the door.
Mike is also at the fair, so he just laughs at you.
Yeah. With a 17, you don't see anything immediately. You see that it's kind of the floor seems a bit damp in this general area, but otherwise nothing immediately sticks out.
Well, Hikan, could you move over for a moment?
Okay.
And I would change positions with Hikan, and I would just shoot an Eldritch Blast towards the
Sap.
chew.
Okay, so make an attack roll.
Yes, I will make an attack roll.
Sap. Pow.
And that would be
Eight nat
6.
Double nat ones. Wow.
Double nat ones.
Yeah.
So you point, and then it just kind of notices it. Like as you point your sword, it turns around, and the eyes, like they're still pointing in 2 different directions, but it's somehow they've managed to fixate on you, and it kind of hops like towards you just as you open fire with the Eldritch Blast, which kind of cascades with stuff on the table over here, which makes a loud clattering sound. And now I'd like everybody to roll for
I'm not used
initiative.
to aiming with this sword yet.
Reprimand slap incoming, and it's like we do not want.
But as this happens, I do wish to rush into the room at least to make room for others.
Yep. So if you move into the room, people can move past you on their turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll step over here.
Wow, we got some great initiative today.
Indeed.
Element 2 goes first.
He's coming in. He's a good
coming
boy.
in.
He's a good boy. He's gonna do it.
I know we've already decided that this chew has eyes that go in 2 different directions, but as it's going first and Renji missed it, I kind of want it to have focus in these eyes. Like they're focused on something.
Test the eye of the target.
I'm just imagining
This is a
like
chew with an intelligence of
I'm
2.
imagining like the sock puppet where it's like now to put on might, slams it on the table, angry eyes, and it has like the very cartoony big like frowny eyebrows. I'm like,
this one down, because apparently it's remarkably now. There we go. Okay. Let's see. So, as everybody roll for initiative.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, descending. Yay. Okay, so the element choose is going to go first. As you see, as Renji's the only thing that it notices at the moment, it's going to fixate on Renji. It's going to pounce at you and try and hit you with all of its probably 20-pound jelly weight.
Ooh. That does not hit.
Oops.
That does not hit. It's
A
9.
does not hit.
It goes, so it rolls 9, so and just kind of hops itself. It needs to move as part of its attack, so it's going to hop over here and having splattered into the wall.
It's a 9 from me.
And then Ziden, it's your go.
I guess I'll shoot it.
Okay.
You might want to move, buddy, because there's a friend there.
The 17 hit.
17, yep, 17 hits and 11 is enough damage. Just kind of, you hit it and the arrow lands in it and just expands slightly and it's just, it's gone.
Are you alright? Is he covered in goo?
Yeah, he's covered in this kind of harmless blue slime.
If anyone has any bottle, I'd say collect. It's a good
All my
outcome.
balls are full of healing potions.
I suppose that's initiative over for the moment.
Would I have any bottles in my herbalism kit?
Yeah, you might have a couple. They won't be big. They'll be like vials.
Well,
I'll go get my arrow and some goo.
Yeah.
Joe's going to step in and noticing like the thick, moist patch. He's going to and like have his sword ready because he's not going to launch a fireball at the patch because
Yeah,
because-
Renji is also stepping closer with,
because
like, in step with Sho.
because unlike someone, don't launch magic inside of someone else's building who's paying us to keep everything in. That would be a bad idea.
Okay.
So you're
So as
saying
you-
no magic?
No,
You said
like
it was-
exploding magic, things that have a physical presence.
As you,
It's
as you,
Is force magic fine?
Well, it has a physical presence. It literally
yeah.
exploded stuff off of a table in a kitchen. That's not great.
as you guys enter into the room and look over the moist patch, sliding out of these barrels are 3 more of the bastards.
Where?
Can we shoot them or back to initiative?
I'd say back to initiative.
Yeah.
Because, like, they will ordinarily get a surprise round, but they don't move fast enough or tactile-fully enough in order to actually get that kind of thing.
Also, we wouldn't we were anticipating them coming,
Yay, 20.
the good old sprouting out of the moist
Yeah.
patch. So
Yeah.
we were paying attention to that rather than the barrels that they came out.
Oh
of.
man.
Come on, get
Okay.
the shit rolls out early, lads. Come on.
Okay, so rolling initiative again. We've got Hikan, then Max, then Sho, then Ziden, then Renji, and then the Chews, who don't go first this time. They're not they're not focused.
Then they're not Mark Speed Chew.
They're not Max Speed Chew.
Oh god, punch.
So Hikan will go ahead and move down into this area within range of all 3 of them.
Punt.
Mhm.
And he's going to aim at this one.
Yep.
With his quarterstaff.
Okay.
It is the one to the if this was a map, it would be the one to the directly east of him.
Yep.
This.
And he will go ahead and 25.
25 does hit, but a 7 is not enough damage to kill it.
Alrighty, I'm going
Yep.
to use a key point and use Flurry of Blows.
Okay.
Don't you get your
The-
bonus attack before you even
Yeah,
have to do that?
You could just use one bonus attack because if it popped in 11 damage, then you only need
Well,
add-ons.
then you can
yeah,
then you can use
but I'm
the other
attacking-
attack on
yeah.
a different thing.
Oh yeah, true.
Max
Yeah.
got it.
Gotta go crazy.
So I'm
Okay.
going to do my
Gotta go
first unarmed strike against the same Chew.
Okay.
19.
19 is a hit, and this one also pops
I like
as
to
your
imagine-
fist connects to it.
I'd like to imagine you're considering the size of these choo-choos, your flurry of blows is just you stomping around,
I'll take
squish
it.
him.
Like an unarmed strike could also just be a kick.
That's what I was saying, like, punt the squishy footballs. Punt them.
And then the next unarmed strike will be going to the one on his left or to the north of him.
Okay.
20 to hit with 5 damage.
20 to hit with 5 damage. Yep, so that one also is just... It doesn't explode, but it's just kind of jiggles with the force.
Does it smell like alcohol?
It kind of does, actually. It smells like really cheap alcohol. They're, like, while they're blue, there is kind of like this yellowish tinge to them. They're almost green, in a sense.
Those chews.
Drink
Do not drink the chew.
Okay, and then next up is Max.
Alright. Max is gonna sort of bring a finger up in the air and basically snarl something in Draconic and send a bunch of magic missiles out of things.
Okay.
Magic missile.
Magic missile! Can't miss.
I've put it as 3d4 plus 3 because I don't want to just click things repeatedly.
That's fine.
11 damage
11
on the same
damage.
one that Hikan just hit.
Okay, and all 3 missiles to that same one?
Yeah.
Okay, see, that one just kind of gets juggled slightly in the air before it pops.
Combo.
And then it was Sho's go.
Sho is going to walk up to the small, amorphous, innocent little blob, and is going to give it a stab.
Innocent.
Miss.
Technically, you were flanking it, so 14.
Okay.
But it's still not enough damage to kill it.
Do I do like I chop a piece off?
You chop a piece off, like you kind of like split it in two, and then it like very swiftly reforms itself, looking up with its not receptive eye. It's just kind of why.
Why would you do this, tall man? Sho feels bad.
They're so adorably dumb.
Sho's like,
Ziden.
oh no, do I need to make a feel save?
Ziden.
I will. Yes, technically step to the side so I don't hit Renji, and then I'll shoot at it.
All around the beer barrel, Ziden chases the choo-choo.
Ah,
The arrow manages to find its mark and it explodes.
oh,
Yeah, they have terrible AC.
The choo-choo thought was all in fun. Pop goes the choo.
well, I've covered them again.
Renji, what are you doing?
Since I don't see any chews currently active, I step over here to survey the other room.
Okay. As you head over to the room, you look around and you see several broken boxes crushed under the weight of what appears to be
Oh no.
a very large one of these things.
Yay!
Oh, boy.
It's a fat chew!
Huzzah!
Yeah.
In that case, I am going to get up close and personal and just hit it with the true Twilight longsword.
Okay.
Shin.
Omae wa mou shindeiru.
Don't think I'll go down that quickly.
It is a 25,
Nice.
and as this blade, made from the essence of the Twilight Realm, which should not exist in our world, hits, it does 12 slashing damage.
Nice.
Anime as fuck.
You slice into it and it just kind of these jiggles around this big 6 foot tall blob of jelly occupying a massive amount of space. This kind of looks in your vague direction as you hit it with the sword. Now its turn. It's going to do a retaliatory pounce attack to see if it can hit you. Getting an 18 to hit.
18 is my armor class.
Yay!
So you take 5 bludgeoning damage as this thing just fucking body slams you with the weight of its jello.
Does it check him into the wall?
So effectively it pounds. It doesn't move him, but as part of its attack it needs to move, so it's just going to go over here.
So again, there is the standard Legends of Zelda.
What element was it doing?
It's just no extra element. That's only if it's of a specific colour.
Oh,
At this point, it's neutral.
This
It
would be
does 3
considered.
alcohol damage.
This would be considered a choo-choo.
Yeah.
Just that there's choo-choos, ice chews, fire chews, and shock chews.
Okay.
But the neutral one's just choo-choos for some reason.
choo-choo, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Hikan.
Hearing the giant body slam, Hikan is going to use his move to go around the door as fast
You
as
know what?
possible.
It sounds like a very large pot of mac and cheese being stirred, and then suddenly, ow! And it's like, maybe I should check that out.
And Hikan,
Pop the glowing
somewhere
tennis ball.
somewhere between rage and sadness at knowing that all of this alcohol, cheap or not, has been devoured by these chews, is going to swing his stick at one of the eyes.
Nah.
Okay.
17?
17 hits. That's 7
7.
bludgeoning damage. You smack the bastard thing.
And then he's going to use his bonus action to make an unarmed strike against the same eye. He's going to try to punch it off.
Okay.
24.
How do you want to do this?
So how tall is this thing?
It's about 6 foot tall, about 8 feet wide.
So
you
he's
have to
going to
reach.
crouch. So after he's swung down, he's going to crouch, turning away. And as he comes up, he's going to spin and uppercut one of the eyes, popping it off.
Sure
And just
you
as this
can.
mountain of goo just starts splurting out of the eye.
Yeah, it just kind of splurts out. There's this geyser of goo as it covers the both of you. The eye soaring to the ceiling before exploding and splattering a nice big blue mark on the ceiling. And eventually there's a sudden, the rest of it shakes as it expands before exploding and completely ruining all of the clothes both of you are wearing.
Yeah.
I have a shield.
so
have
so
a-
How
all
big
of you,
is this shield?
so
Is it
all
a
of you
tower
except
shield?
one
It
circle.
covers most of my torso.
So like everything except your chest.
I have prestidigitation.
He has Prestige, so he's
Fair
fine.
So in
Tyrina, who hasn't really done anything in this fight, just kind of leans against the wall like, this has been a weird day.
I step over my clothes, cleaning themselves almost, as I look over at the others and say, I believe we've done it, ladies and gentlemen.
I like to
I'm
imagine.
gonna go get my arrow.
I like to imagine.
I'm gonna look inside the barrels and make sure there's no more of these things in them.
I like to imagine that when Hikan like uppercuts the thing off, it's like either one of two things. One, it's Ryu giving Sagat his chest scar with the Shoryuken. Or two, it's One Punch Man beating Carnage Kabuto, and he has that dub look on his face, and it's like, it's bargains at the supermarket! And he just punches the eye off, and there's like shit everywhere.
even though it's goo and he's probably not going to do anything, he's going to roll a survival check to try to find a trophy.
But it all
20.
explodes.
Tried some goo.
you find like a decent amount of goo. And a
Nice.
decent amount of chew jelly. For those checking to see if there are any more of these things lying around, feel free to make a an investigation check.
Oh,
Well,
one thing I'm good at.
That's 0.
And
So
one
go
thing I'm
19.
really good at. +6, baby.
I have a 13.
Okay, so you have a look around. You check every barrel. You check every possible location. You don't seem to find any more chews lying about. It seems to be clean, if not a bit damp.
My sword is already just gone.
I'll put my bow back away, and should I ritual cast detect magic? Would that even see them?
Well, they're not magic creatures.
They're not inherently... Well, yeah, they're not inherently magical, but you can do that if you want to see if you can pick anything up.
If they were like actually elemental, then I assume.
I guess I'll do that for a bit. Let people do other things.
Yeah.
Ritual casting, detect magic.
Tyrina's just going to head out to the front.
As is Sho, as he's cleaning off his blade. He's like, nah.
Hikan is going to follow, not knowing how bad it is that, or how much of the stuff is unsightly to be covered in.
Sho does turn back and look at him and is like, Sho's like, wait. Before he leaves, Sho is going to do him the courtesy and use prestidigitation to take him off.
Okay.
Yeah, Renji will also kind of help with the others.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just gonna stick with Ziden.
Okay. Ziden, you cast your magic. You don't seem to detect anything particularly magical in this area. It seems fairly mundane, if covered in chew jelly.
Can we inspect it all to work out why they're suddenly chews? Presumably, were they packaged in the barrels of booze?
I think they were
Hungry.
attracted to the dampness.
Yeah, maybe it's best to ask the purveyor of this establishment where he got this very cheap booze that turned out to be beer ooze.
Let's go to the front then.
Through the wall!
Just like, just phase.
I can't phase.
It's a Sheikah talent.
I'm not going to use a spell slot to use Misty Step.
It's our thing.
Because I could totally do it.
It's our thing.
Yeah.
I totally put pads and use Shadow Step. I mean, what?
You head back outside, and you see like these hopeful patrons just kind of looking over. You see Boris. He comes back over and says, so what happened?
Hikan puts a hand on his shoulder, looking down, tears in his eyes, and goes, "They drank all the booze."
Ah, bollocks.
But they're dead though.
Yeah, that's a plus.
That is true. These creatures, they were your store of alcohol.
They were my store of alcohol? That's
Yeah.
weird. I haven't gotten a shipment for a month. That's...
Huh. Then I wonder what your patrons have been drinking.
Do you say that loud?
Oh,
I do
come
not say
on.
it out loud. I say it quietly.
Okay. I'm just going to roll a dice to see whether or not any of the drunken hopeful patrons hear any of this. That was a natural 20.
Oh no! Oh no!
There's a pause as
no.
Boris kind of looks over to the people behind him, and they all turn to look at him. The anger slowly growing in their eyes, and he turns to us. You best go.
The reprimand slap.
There was 3 in a big one, for the
There were 4 in a big one.
I have 4
Or
in
in
a
a
big
bigger. Okay.
I think that
Right.
counts as at least 2.
It's really big.
Shows like
worker.
it would not be wise to push our luck given the situation that we find ourselves in right now. Shows like pointedly looking at all the bar patrons.
Hikan, looking at the patrons and understanding their plight,
Oh no!
has a flashback towards times spent with his master, where he picked up a certain skill,
Oh no!
and he leans in to Bara, and he asks if Bara has a brewer's kit.
Boris. To go
Boris,
back.
sorry.
Boris guy. I don't know. Maybe there's something in the kitchen?
Hikan will dash back down to the kitchen and go see if he can find one.
Okay, make an investigation check.
That's bad. I'm not gonna find shit.
13.
13. Oh crap. Okay.
Yeah. So you have a look around. You don't find an actual brewer's kit, but you find stuff that might actually be serviceable for this sort of thing.
Alrighty, so, should I roll an investigation or a perception check to see if this has been tainted by the juice?
Yeah, make a perception check.
Much better. 21!
21. Okay, you have a look at it. It seems pretty clean, actually. It seems like the stuff that you have that you can possibly use doesn't seem to have been tainted by the chews themselves.
Alrighty, Hikan grabs as much of it as he can and takes it back upstairs.
Okay, so you kind of trundle back over, arms full with this stuff. And Boris looks over with kind of like this desperate sort of, if this is a thing that could save me, then please do it. I don't care. Please. Got a bunch of angry drunks behind me.
But
Now, I understand your plight, because I too like my drink. And as a result, I am not a man trying to make money from you. But I am a man who knows what good drink looks like, and this stuff is good, he says, and he puts it behind Boris's bar.
Make a persuasion check to see if you can calm the patrons.
9?
They don't seem particularly swayed. Because it's not so much the equipment that's on hand, it's whether or not Boris did anything to feed them choo-choos for a month or so.
I
I
tried.
glance over at the patrons. I look at Boris, and I just want to say to Boris, we'll be expecting payment at Lord Simeon's estates. Thank you very much for your time.
He kind of gives a nod.
I look over at the others. I think we're done here, aren't we?
Everyone out now. Go.
Matt just says leave.
Yeah.
As Hikan is approaching the door, he
Out.
peeks his head
Out.
outside. He peeks his head outside looking for the children. He did not forget.
Do you have a make a perception check, see if you can find the children?
Whilst he's looking for children, Sho Daius is like in Boris's defense.
Nope.
I will also just glance around, since I know what they're up to. That's a 24, natural 20.
Nice.
Streets seem rather quiet outside now that all the patrons have come in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any other individuals in particular while you're out here.
In Boris's defense, if he had been supplying you with choo-choos for over a month, there would be a lot more in there. There was only 5 total. It's more likely that those things had turned up. Boris, how long ago did you post this request?
About a couple of days ago.
Then it is a rather recent incident. If it had been there for more than a month, we would have faced a fair lot more, because they multiply rather quickly. In fact, I'd say we nipped this problem in the bud before it got any worse.
Renji is just smiling.
Make a persuasion check with advantage, because you're using fairly decent logic there.
15.
15. There's kind of like they seem still kind of wary, because it's like, considering where you are and who's here, it's quite possible that they've all kind of got the idea in their heads that Boris waters down the drinks anyway.
Yeah.
But they seem to accept.
I'm a smart-looking fellow. It's like with that.
It's the glasses.
Yeah, it's the glasses. The non-reading glasses, but sunglasses.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like, you can see Boris just kind of just exhale with relief as the patrons back down, and some of them even just go over to a table.
Have a pleasurable evening. Out, everyone out now.
Going, and it's just gone.
Sho is the last person, like with the arms, like out.
Well, I got out the first time he said it.
I was outside all the time.
So what's the time now then?
By this point, it's about mid-afternoon.
How far
You
away does the thing say that the bandit thing, the checkpoint was?
It would take about half a day's worth of travel.
Then not today.
Not today.
Not to... I say thee nay!
Then we shall do that tomorrow. Because tonight, you better bring your grills, lads, because we're doing a stakeout.
Okay.
Speaking of grills, we could also do lunch before we go.
Yeah.
Steaks out.
Is there anything you guys wanted to do between now and the time of appropriate stake outage?
I need to find someone who will sell me a dragon scale.
Okay.
Because I need it.
You know where you have to go for that.
I know, yeah. Oh yeah, I know where I have to go to. I know who I have
When
to
you say
speak
that,
with.
Max asked, what kind of dragon scale?
Red.
Alright. Never mind.
A spell that I've been learning, I've been practicing on, allows me to exhale fire, much like a dragon.
Oh, I can do that.
Some of us aren't born with it. I'll be
Some it
honest.
is. Maybe.
Out of character, I haven't told you about that yet.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. And then
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's sorcery.
damn Dragonborn.
Okay, so there are...
I'm off to Uriel's more than likely.
So you're off to Uriel's.
Considering it's a spell component that is used in a fair few spells, Dragon.
Renji would probably lounge around in the library for the time being.
Okay.
Rest up a bit, use a hit die to regain his HP.
After getting body check.
After getting a body check from a big choo-choo, yeah.
Yeah.
The world's
Okay.
squishiest spear.
So we have-
is going to look like buy a brewer's kit.
It's the big blob! Roman Reigns!
Okay, so Sho's going to Uriel's,
Indeed.
Renji's going to the library, Hikan's looking for a brewer's kit. What's our other two companions doing?
I'm gonna go to Lord Simeon's library. He said he
Okay.
had one in his mansion.
Okay.
Matt's just gonna pick a random book and read it until it's time to go.
Yeah, okay. And Ziden?
Probably just explore around the East Residential District, get a feel for the area.
Okay. That's a good idea. Okay, so first off we'll do Uriel, since I know Uriel's accent off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's Dark Demodome moment, or the Dark Stale Demodome.
So you head inside. You see the glorious golden building. That is
I know
Uriel's
this
magical
man.
execution.
I know this
You
man.
know this man, but I like describing it. You head inside and you see the walls of lock boxes, all gold and black in their color, and you see the portly, curly blonde with grand mustache Uriel behind the desk. He looks over and says, welcome one and all to Uriel's magnificent magical machinations. My name is Uriel. How might I help you today, sir?
Yes, Uriel, I am aware.
Well, if it isn't Sho Daius. I haven't seen you in these parts for a while, sir. How you been?
I've been well. I managed to rope anyone in recently, I suppose.
Maybe. I sold a couple things the other day. By the way, sir, are you in the market for a new spell of some kind? I know you are of the wizard arts just like myself, sir.
Oh god, he's a wizard.
No, never again.
It's like you're trying to sell me something, and you know what? Just might.
Well, I can teach you a spell of my own creation, sir.
Wait.
Very potent.
Sho's heard this spiel before. Are you referring to the arrow?
I am indeed, sir. Have you heard of it?
The one that, despite its given strength, has some side effects.
Side effects, sir? I'm not sure what you mean, sir.
Whenever I use the spell, I have to pay you for it.
Well, it's 10 gold pieces per casting of the spell, but that's perfectly fine. It's part of the material components. It just disappears from your coin pouch.
If it weren't, I would admire the ingenuity if it weren't for the sake of capitalism.
Well, if you ever change your mind, then by all means, you can come back and I can teach you the spell.
Probably
Even
one
though
day when I have a much more sizable wallet.
That's perfectly fine, sir. But in the meantime, you came here for anything particular that you might have had in mind?
I have, in terms of spells that I've learned recently. I've been studying up on Agonizar's Scorcher.
Ooh, I've heard of that one. Spicy, very spicy. Anyway,
Like the
I'm
Dragon's
guessing-
Breath of Morphic.
yes. And I'm guessing the reason why you're here mentioning that particular spell, that you're looking for the material component in order to cast it. One red dragon scale, I think.
They're not easy to come by, given nature. So,
Well, how about this? And he leans down behind his desk and he comes back up and with a small box about the size of your palm, and he opens it up, and inside is a collection of these rather fine razor-sharp scales about the size of a guitar pick, and he pulls one out and it's glistening red, and even when he brings it out, you can feel this resonant heat coming from the actual scale itself.
indeed, spicy.
Yeah, and he says, now this one. Now, you see, son, there aren't many red dragons known to these parts. The only one, in fact, would be Volvagia, which now resides sealed
Death
away
Mountain.
within Death Mountain. Exactly. I've been told that this scale of itself is from Volvagia.
Sho is going to raise his eyebrows so far that if his hat wasn't there, they'd probably fly off his head. It's like, okay, so how much would a normal red dragon scale be in comparison to this fine scale procured from Volvagia itself?
Well, that depends per se. A normal red dragon scale would usually run you about 50 gold pieces. They are very difficult to acquire, of course, but this one, because it comes from a legendary dragon that might have set the world ablaze and turned us all to ash one day, that'll run you about 100 gold pieces.
Right. Well, I can't, despite investigation being my best stat, I can't, investigate this, is this a whole Volvagia scale? Because I've never seen the bloody dragon before.
That'd either be a history to see whether or not you recognize anything in regards to it, or alternatively you can insight check to see whether or not Uriel's bullshitting you.
And you know what? I'm going to do that just in case. I'm going to be cautious anyways, because I know this man's a bit of a bullshitter. 9. He's called me a lion sinker.
Yeah, he seems like a perfectly honest, reasonable businessman.
Snake oil bastard is what he is. Shows like... you have your 100 gold, Uriel.
You're too kind, sir. You're too kind. And trust me, I'm not one to trade these things lightly. Only someone of your capable skill should be able to wield something like this. Puts the scale in your palm.
Yes. He fishes out the 100 gold, and as Uriel's counting it out, he is going. Sho fashions it to his necklace focus.
Okay. Excellent. So now you have a red dragon scale.
Hooray!
Hooray! And he finishes counting the money, puts it to one side, and it says, "Well, now that was a very entertaining and profitable business venture. Would you like to purchase anything else while you're here?"
Nothing as of yet, but if I learn any more spells that require any more components, I'll be sure to return.
Most certainly, sir. It was nice talking to you, and I've seen you again, by the way. And I hope you have a magical afternoon.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Uriel.
It's been a pleasure.
Did you roll for pen damage on the GM?
Revenge? No. It doesn't. I don't think it counts, considering that it is literally just Snake Oil Salesman being Snake Oil Salesman.
Okay. Meanwhile,
I cannot wait for the time when I try and use Agonar Scorcher and it doesn't work, and it's like, what the fuck? I shine up the scale, like, this is the blue dragon scale you've painted red! You bastard, Uriel!
That would just be excellent.
It would be amazing.
Turns out electricity is hot too.
But the spell doesn't work, considering Agonizar's Scorcher calls for flame, and that's it.
I mean, I was referring to the fact that the scale is hot.
Oh yeah, true. It would still be a bit spicy, but
Yeah. Now we're gonna go with Hikan and Tyrina because Tyrina likes hanging out with Hikan because he provides drinks.
wow, what a
Minibar.
virtuous paladin preying on a young impressionable lad who likes it.
With alcohol.
So, I'd like for you to do an investigation check to see if you can find a place that might sell a brewer's kit, and Irina, also with a -1, will have a go as well.
It's better than me.
She gets a 0.
I got that's a 10 on the dice.
That's a 10 on the dice, so you got an 8.
So you're going to find one, maybe, but you're going to have to spend some time asking
It's-
directions and all that shit.
Yeah, you kind of ask around, you bump into guards, some of them kind of look down and say, no, I'm not telling you where to find things to make drink because you're a child, and it's just going around. It takes you until about the early evening before you find a place in the commercial district which has the following title. There's a long sign above the door that says Sebastian's Normal General Store ... Honest Guys.
Is this man perhaps a relative of man?
Maybe.
Right?
21 insight check on the sign, and you look at it, Tyrina's like, I don't know about this place, and you're pretty much like, I don't know about this place either. It's
Now,
like
guys, I'm an enclosed monk who spent my entire life in a monastery, but even I know that this is some bullshit. This is bait.
That Uriel guy was really cool. No, something just rubs me wrong about this.
But he's honest.
Well, wait.
Tyrina says, well, surely if this was like an illegitimate business, maybe they would have shut it down by now.
Hikan remembers the look on the angry patrons' faces in the wasp's nest. I don't know.
Well, do you want to see if you can find somewhere else?
No, we don't have time. Hikan steps in.
Alright, you step in. There's items adorned on all the walls. Basically, these different items like rope and grappling hooks and backpacks and cooking pots. A general array of really general stuff, as you would expect in a general store. And behind the desk, hunched over, is this kind of tall but like somewhat bulky figure, and he turns around and you can see quite clearly it's a Lizzlefoss, but over its snout is this long curly fake mustache, and he goes, oh, hello, welcome to Sebastian's Normal General Store, how may I help you today?
I'd like to imagine that you have put on the Italian accent, but he still hisses his S's.
Yeah.
Welcome to Sebastian's General Store!
Hikan looks to Tyrina and asks in Gerudo, Lizzlefoss don't grow mustaches, right?
No, they don't grow mustaches, they're scaly.
Hikan has like the equations moment. It's like all the equations, like what the fuck's happening?
Do not be afraid, come on in, I'm going to provide you with many things.
So, Sebastian. See, so we heard it.
Yes, that is me.
I am looking for brewer's supplies.
Oh, a little brewer person, a little alchemy for the alcohol, huh? Okay. And he just disappears into the array of stuff that is behind his desk.
Clank,
And
clank,
by the
clank,
way,
clank, clank, clank.
I would like to apologize for anybody who might actually have an Italian accent and me doing a terrible job.
No, you're not doing an Italian. You're not doing an Italian accent. You're doing a Charles Martinet impression.
Yeah, exactly. It works because this guy's clearly putting it on.
Yeah.
And he comes back with a box full of like this different beakers and measures and all the kind of tools that you would see in a traditional brewer's kit, and you identify this immediately. And he brings it back and clumps it on the table and goes, "Aha! There we go. One the brewer's kit. Anything suitable for the capabilities of brewing something on the go. That would be about 20 gold pieces, if possible."
Please tell me he's doing the hand rubbing together thing consistently.
He's very gesticular, so his hands are going all over the place.
Even though Sheikah aren't known for growing facial hair, Hikan is stroking his chin as if he had a beard. Looking at this box very suspiciously. What would I need to roll to see if this is an honest, complete brewer's kit?
That would be an insight. That would be an insight check. It'd be insight check to see if Sebastian has provided you with sight, because you know how these work. You're proficient in them, so you can see that it looks like it's okay. But you may an insight check to see whether or not anything's up with it.
I like to imagine that because he rummages through stuff very fastly, that when he comes out, the tacked on mustache is slanted.
Yeah.
It's like a tilted painting.
Just as you're examining the kit, he just quietly raises the claw and nudges it back into place.
Yeah, it shifts it back and shifts it back.
With a 20 on your insight check, it's weird. You could not be, even without the check, you could not be any more sure that he's putting all of this on. But he's not lying about the capabilities of the kit nor its price. He's being honest about that.
Oh, he's just I think I'm bullshitting you, but I think I actually gave you a good product.
He doesn't seem nervous in any sense. It seems like he's enjoying the role that he's taken up, but it's quite clearly a role.
The equations pop up over Hikan's head.
This is the equations moment,
And then he looks Sebastian in the eyes, and does he see more of like you said that he sees enjoyment of the role that he's putting on, right? And that's pretty upfront.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a
Then
swelled
it clicks.
cheekbones.
It's not that he's trying to swindle things, it's just he's really enjoying being in Castle Town and his disguise and how no one's called him out on it.
Have an inspiration for that, because that's exactly what he was going for.
Nice! Good shit, man.
Alrighty.
You can kind of put together that the act is that he wants to be in Castletown. He likes selling stuff in Castletown, but he's a giant fucking lizard and people might be scared of him. So he puts on the act to try and, in a way, pretend to be Hylian, even though he clearly isn't Hylian.
He's not a smart man.
Just so he can fit in. Yeah, you kind of connect to him in that sense. You understand him almost thoroughly. That's really good. Well done. That's grand.
Nice! I like Sebastian. New favourite NPC.
Hikan smiles at this. And,
Reminds me of a certain Brian, of a magical persuasion.
Yeah.
And he grabs the 24 gold plus the change that he got from his apple the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be 9 silver and 8 copper.
Okay.
And he gives it all to Sebastian as as sort of a sign of goodwill, and that Hikan understands. And he bows very politely and he says, "Thank you, Sir Hylian," as he grabs his box of brewer's supplies.
You see his lizard lips pull back and you see the rows of teeth and he smiles rather genuinely, nods rather excitedly. "Oh, thank you very much, thank you! Thank you so much for buying my brewer's kit."
Oh my god. I like to imagine that this one moment is that one frame of animation that the happy mask salesman has when he has the closed eyes, big smile, they're rubbing their hands together and he's nodding his head yay!
Alrighty, so now I have a brewer's kit.
As you guys leave, Tyrina's like, I can't get over it today. What's going on, Hikan?
It's okay, don't worry about it. Castle Town, as I have recently learned, is just a weird place. And he's going to make his way to the menagerie pet store with Tyrina as he's trying out his brewer's kit.
Okay. So the two of you guys who are in the libraries, different respective libraries, you kind of spend the day reading. No one seems to disturb you in that sense. Mara's just continued going about her active stuff in the castle, while at Lord Simeon's estate, Simeon kind of comes in briefly, picks out a book and sits down at one of the desks, and as he reads it, he begins to slowly doze off.
I assume Max gets a few funny looks from any servants who come through since he's sitting on the floor, cross-legged and reading.
Yeah. But it's like they come and give you funny looks, but then it's very momentary because they're used to their lord and master effectively falling asleep wherever he sits down to read a book. That isn't work.
Adorable.
Yeah. And Ziden, you're exploring the Eastern Residential District.
Yes, basically, if I'm going to have to chase after something through this area, I want to know where I'm chasing them.
Very good. If you will work out things like advantage or bonuses in that eventuality, so that you're more or less fully aware of how this kind of place works. And then as time comes by, day turns to night. Guards patrol around, lamplighters go around and light the lamps as they go on by. And eventually you all meet up near the menagerie pet shop to stake out the place.
So, like, before it gets to, like, the appointed time, Sho is going to, like, huddle up, get the group together, and the group huddles, like, time to go over the plan.
One question I was just going to have before.
Yeah.
With druids, it says that you can change your things at the end of a long rest, or you can change them with a minute per level of the spell. Does it specifically have to be after a long rest, or could I change one of my spells now?
You can change one of your spells now, you just won't get back any spell slots that you might have spent. That's the thing that comes back at the end of a long rest.
Okay, I'm going to change one of my spells to Moonbeam.
Okay.
That's an
While we're
excellent
waiting,
one.
Khan is going to meditate for 30 minutes to regain his hit point, or his key point.
Okay.
I am going to, whilst we're preparing the stakeout, I'm going to ritual. I'm going to use the ritual spells to use Find My Familiar, and I'm going to bring back my familiar in its owl form.
Okay.
I'm going to fly up and sit currently on top of the rooftop, so while I'm hiding, later when it reaches the appointed time, I can then, use his senses to see what's up.
Okay.
While you guys do all that, Max is going to find a good spot to stand out of sight, but also watch the spot where
Yeah, well, that barrel's
he's
around.
happening.
Okay. So I suppose,
But on ground level.
Yeah. Make a perception check.
Me. For my barrels.
Whoever's looking for places to hide.
Oh, I would too, yes. Perception?
Would as well.
I'm looking
Right.
for a place high up, but yes.
All Sho's looking for is a barrel to put
It's
over
an
my head.
18 for me.
I got an 8.
Yeah. So everyone managed to identify like a core spot individually that each one can find. You all eventually are able to point Sho and Tyrina, who I think her perception is not going to be particularly good. No, she got an at one, so you definitely helped Tyrina find a place to hide.
No, don't stand right next to the spot. Stand over
I'd like
there.
to imagine that me and Tyrina, because everyone else found a good spot, me and Tyrina are just with the barrels over our heads.
Yeah.
Under a cardboard box.
Yeah, yeah, we're under crates. We found 2 reasonably big barrels, and we're just alright, here we go. Yeah.
And as you kind of sit there and wait at the appointed time, you see it takes a while, and you start to wonder as to whether or not anybody's turning up.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually you see someone. It's a young woman. Who appears to be dressed in commoner's clothes, not too distraught to think that she's from the slums, but not too expensive to say that she might be from the noble district. Seems like a perfectly average person. With kind of this long, straight black hair, a rounded Hylian. seems to be fairly young. Walks rather slowly and methodically, without ducking between cover or looking around. Just seems to be dead straight on, heads over to the spot where she stands, just 5 feet away from the door. Doesn't raise a hand to look over it, just stands and stares, looking up slightly, as the animals inside go nuts. They start barking and tweeting and howling.
I'm in control of my owl at this point, and I'm looking down at this. My familiar is going to float on, like, hover down, and like actually land a little bit like away from her, like but on street level.
Okay.
And then, oh.
Eventually, this individual kind of turns around with a start to see the owl, and we'll leave it on a cliffhanger because that's where we'll end the session for tonight.
Oh yeah! Next time! Dragon? No, I'm not.
Everyone just poised, ready for a thing to happen. God damn it.
Yeah.
Well, the dramatic close off. To be continued. Dun, 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 dun.
And so this has been Hyrule Chronicles Episode 6. I have been the GM ArticulateT, and with me I've had playing Sho Daius, SteveTheSeregios.
Thank you, good night, much love.
I've also had Hikan being played by Alvarance.
Bye, have a beautiful time.
Oh god, really?
Playing Renji, son of Nihilus, I've had TheNetherlad.
Good night and sleep well.
Playing Ziden Shari, I've been having Rubber Pirate with me.
Good night.
And finally playing Max, I've had Keastreth.
Goodbye. Oh god, I'm melting right now.
It is very warm.
It is
Oh, God.
All
hot.
everywhere.
It's warm.
Hopefully next time will be slightly cooler in order to continue playing this game.
If
In
you,
the meantime,
if you haven't heard from us next week, assume we've all heat died.
We're
Two people
liquid
just
then.
spontaneously combusted.
Heat death of personal universe.
and in the meantime, bye!
Bye.
If you liked what you heard, be sure to check us out on the SoundCloud of ArticulateT. If you want to get more updates, be sure to follow me on Twitter at ArticulateT. And we're also trying our best to upload these to YouTube as well, which is, again, ArticulateT. I have a very limited imagination when it comes to usernames, but, you know, hopefully that all works out. In the meantime, thank you guys for coming along, and we will see you next time. Take care.